this city. I also want to establish a Department of Sustainability in that fashion of dealing with sustainable industries, create ordinances that will require certain things in the building performance of new structures. And I'll start, by the way, with the city. There's some very simple things that I'll do that I won't disclose at this point. But that was part of my background at Sanford. The Second Chance program is something that's a part of my platform also, which I think is vitally critical to our city. There are a lot of young men that have felons and a lot of young women that have felons in this city. Why not put them back into the workforce rather than have them on welfare or begging or suffering because they don't have a second chance? I will actively campaign to do what in fact, he happened to be a Republican governor. Now, I'm a Democrat. I don't apologize for it, but I know that you have to work with everybody across the board, and I will make strong efforts to do that. But this particular governor, I recall, gave a pardon to a number of people for certain things. Well, if we have a second chance program, I'm going to tell you how it works. The federal government gives a rebate to businesses for hiring former felons. If we got a program through the city where we can employ them in those sustainable industries to clean this city up, to change the entire mental thinking of this city, then we can give them a second chance by giving them medical and dental benefits as well as a living wage job in those sustainable industries that we can attract to the city as well as through City Hall. I'm not about growing city government anymore because it's already basically too big. But we want to make it efficient, so we're going to cut the waste instead of cutting jobs. And we can do that. But in the second chance, we want to give them sustainable living wage jobs, which means these won't be minimum wage jobs where they can barely pay the bills. These guys deserve their longevity payback. They work hard to clean this city up. We just got to make it efficient. And in the second chance, not only will they give the businesses a rebate, but the way you get it done is that you got to have the facilities and the wherewithal to get the information out through PSAs, public service announcements, and get them in to fill out the paperwork or have something set up to assist them in filling out the paperwork. Sometimes it can be a long and tedious process, but it's all on the road to their freedom and their dignity again of getting these felons off of them. I'm not a felon, but I'm a personal victim of, I'll say, the judicial system here. And when I talked about the biggest hog in this city is the law enforcement, judicial, it is a meat grinder. The way this city is surviving is on the backs of poor and working class and middle class people, putting them through that judicial process, and it's unconscionable because there are no job opportunities here where people can even pay fines oftentimes, and so therefore it's a continuous open the door, back and forth, swinging door policy. They're coming back and forth, in and out, and that's unconscionable. And that is what keeps this wheel operating. We got to have a more people-friendly city hall. We got to have a way where people can work off their debts, even working with the city, whether it's cleaning up the parks. And I can tell you right now, this madness with these pants being down, they're going to get the pants up when I get in the office as mayor. They are going to get their pants up, I guarantee you. The city of Atlanta passed an ordinance. And I remember back in the early 2000 or 99, when I went before the city about this particular ordinance, it was your current mayor, Mayor Bell, that said that he didn't agree with it because that's a matter of your right to wear to show your behind or to have your drawers showing. Well, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. The city of Atlanta disagrees with it. They passed an ordinance, and many other cities passed an ordinance that will withstand the test of the American Civil Liberties Union. I will pass an ordinance like that. I already got it written up, Just got to get in office as mayor. Finally, let me say this. The decriminalization of marijuana is a necessity for medical purposes. There are people that are sick and suffering. I've seen people that have AIDS, spastic colon, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome it's called, cancer, other diseases. As a neighbor that I have that suffers. These aren't people that are criminals or convicts or just lackadaisical people or people that just want to get high and party. These are people that have legitimate illnesses that are absolutely relieved by the effects of what medical marijuana does for them. And on that end, we must have compassion and love for people that are suffering. And we must pass that medical marijuana ordinance to give them relief. Further, there was an incident. A young man was at Merriam Military Academy. He had a full scholarship, basketball scholarship. He didn't have any type of criminal record. This young man happened to be home on break in Tuscaloosa, and the police officers were just driving, and they saw he and his friend driving around. They hadn't ran a light. They didn't run a stop sign. It was broad daylight. They didn't have a headlight out or a tail light out, because when I sent the lawyer to represent this young man, because his parents didn't have the money to pay for it, that's the first thing the attorney asked: did y'all get a citation for some type of violation? They said no, because there was no violation. They just saw us. They were driving while black. And so they pulled him over. You could have been driving while white and be, poor or working class. And if you can't pay the fines, you're going to get in that system that we talked about. And so long story short, this young man, they pulled the car over and they searched these young men, and they found a little bag of marijuana, less than, I think, a $10 bag of marijuana. They gave this boy a Class C felony, and luckily that he knew me, we were able to get him youthful offender status. But guess what? It basically has hurt him and his family, because he was kicked off the basketball team, and as a consequence, he's not in school anymore, because that's the way he had his scholarship. That is somebody you could potentially be putting on the rolls of welfare, or potentially lead him to a life of crime that he ordinarily would not have been involved in. So that is why we must decriminalize marijuana. We must do that. Finally, I say,